So, hello everybody, I'm back again and decided to put some lipstick on and encouraging everybody else out there who's kind of stuck home in the March doldrums to put some paint on. Yeah, just let it all hang out. So I was talking to everybody, oh no, as I'm puttering with my hair. I'm so unused to looking at all the details and all the very, very fine lines of a Samsung camera. So I'd say for about the last month, I freaked out. I said, I can't really look like that. Actually, do I really have all those wrinkles? And the answer is, yeah, you do. But the filter on all the camera is much, much, much finer than actually if we were just very close in human contact next to each other. So I stopped panicking and I stopped going to the store and getting all the face cream and oh my God, dumping coconut oil on my skin saying this can't be. You can't look like this with all these wrinkles. So a little TLC. Anyway, it's the snow is calming down and I did present my music to everybody out there. And I wanted to sing another song. And last year I spent a lot of time in a very pensive place trying to get into a creating writer space. And that I named that space the place of theta. And that's a very hard place for musicians, artists to be in, but it is almost the zone. And I think there's a fine line of, do I have to stay in this kind of depressive place and get on medication and go to the psychiatrist to kind of figure out, you know, how can I balance this space with, it's really okay not to create, but not to have to feel like you have to be in that depressive place in order to create. And I think a lot of artists and a lot of musicians get into that space. I know that I have, and that is a big quirk for us. And then we struggle with, you know, all the issues regarding, oh my God, but I have to be in this space because I have to create. And it was very interesting. I was listening to a comedian speak about the exact same thing. And I think after he told his whole story, the moral of his story was that, no, I don't have to be that way, and I don't have to. He actually got on medication and performed on medication while he was taking medication. And, you know, after a number of years, I guess he decided that he did not have to be in that depressive place to actually write and create. So I am learning this, and I know we go through our moods, us writers and songwriters, and with all our pieces of scraps all over, and you know, I have my right brain moment where I'm channeling and it's all coming out all organically and all naturally, and it's just, this is what was on my mind. This was what was stored in my brain way back in the memory part of my brain, and it's just coming out, you know, and this is really what I want to say. I find that when I do this, it's a form of meditation for me, and I figure things out. I also, as part of my physical history, unfortunately, within a 10-year span, had 3 lovely cars decide to rear-end me, and of which I did suffer from a tendency called a concussion. So it's a physiological affect on what had happened to my body. So that place of a concussion puts you with a slower brain wave anyway, and it puts you in a place of being able to create. Lo and behold, I found this out through some neurofeedback that I did and through some psychologists and social workers who actually practice on neurofeedback. And so it's really fascinating because I couldn't figure out, where is all this songwriting and writing coming from? Like, I never knew I had this in me until, so I actually wrote a song called The Place of Theta, or wrote, you know, I hate to say a song, it turns out to be a song, but I wrote about the place of theta. It was just a feeling. It was like, oh my God, this is what it feels like to be in the place of theta, so why don't I share it? So right now I'm not going to share it. I just wanted to communicate with everybody that this zone is called theta. It's the theta wave, and that's the waves of when you're in a zone of creating, or writing, or reading, or anything that kind of puts you in that. The brain is in that learning mode. Okay, so where do I go from here to talk about or to sing about? So I think what I'm going to do is, because this is going to be a consistent, ongoing tape, I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to start up again when it looks like my train of thought is kind of sinking a little bit, and I'm not really sure where I'm heading with this. But I always like to end in a song. And I wrote a song, it just kind of came to me about all the things that are going on in the world politically. And the women's movement, and all related to, you know, our wonderful president, who actually came on board to be our president. But it's really wonderful that Trump came on board, because all these other movements began. And so that's a really good thing to, you know, historically, to affect history. And I'm not sure what would have happened with us if Hillary Clinton actually got in. I know we're all sad in the bigger picture, but look what has been reborn. And would these movements have been reborn and come into play if Hillary became our president? Okay, so this is a song about just feeling, you know, all the pain of all the things that are going on, and what we've seen in our lifetimes, being that we are now in our mid-50s, 60s, we are the baby boomers. So we've seen so much. We've been in a world that hasn't been technological, and yet we are all at our ages working 8 to 10 to 15 to 20 hours a day trying to figure out all this technology. So and it gets addicting and obsessive, and yet, you know, we have been thrown into it. So, okay, this song goes like this. I've seen fire and I've seen ice. I've seen lives filled with sacrifice. I've seen love and I've seen hate. I've seen one too many lives just disintegrate. And the beauty of it all is that we are all one human race, trying hard just to keep pace up with it all. And the sad part of it all is that we often make the same mistakes, trying hard not to erase that of what we know so well. We've seen war and we've seen hate. We've seen one too many lives just disintegrate. We've seen peace and we've seen hate. We've seen too many lives disintegrate. And yet the beauty of it all is that we are all one human race, trying hard just to keep pace up with it all. And the sad part of it all is that we often make those same mistakes, trying hard to keep our pace up with all that we know. We've seen wars and we've seen peace. We've seen one too many lives, and young men become deceased.